In today's video, I want to give you some major updates on two PlayStation 4 RPGs. The first one being From Software's Elden Ring. Obviously, that game is hotly anticipated, and it is rumored to be launching in April of 2020. And then also, how about a JRPG that everyone is looking forward to, Persona 5 Royal? That is rumored to be released in March 2020. And all of this makes me think of is the months of February, March, and April, if these two rumors come to fruition, are going to be absolutely insane. So we'll talk all about that. Also, I want to talk a little bit about Close to the Sun, and that's coming to the PlayStation 4 on October 29th. That is a narrative-driven survival horror title, as well as another JRPG collection announced, and that is the Atelier Dusk Trilogy. That's been announced for the PlayStation 4, and pre-orders have already opened up in Japan. Hopefully, we see a release stateside relatively soon as well, given that we do have a new Atelier game dropping pretty soon. But first up, Elden Ring is From Software's next action RPG developed in collaboration with George R.R. Martin and will be released on a yet-to-be-announced release date sometime in 2020, but new rumors are suggesting it will be released in April 2020. A little while ago, Reddit user xhanzo revealed that the game will be released on April 2020, and the first gameplay footage will be shown at this year's edition of the Game Awards in December. xhanzo also provided some interesting details on Elden Ring's combat system and gameplay mechanics, which feel like a mix between the Soul series and this year's Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Exploration also seems to be influenced by the Zelda series in some ways, so a rather big conglomerate of a lot of major franchises. Most of the combat is built upon the foundation of the Soul series. The powers you get from the bosses are integrated to combos like the prosthetic in Sekiro, but for all weapons, some of those can also be used in the open world to open new paths, much like Zelda. So this, from a world design standpoint, is going to be a little bit different. Limbs are dropped by enemies, but only some can be used as replacement for your arm. Most of the others are rotten or already burned. They can also be offered to Covenants. Resting at specific altars fully recovers your arm. Stealth kills allow to recover a bit from the burns. Specific skills like crouch, swim, dive, power stance, dash, crafting herbs, magic, dual wield, parry, deflect, climb, hiding in the environment, faith, drain, roll, super armor, high jump, awareness, knowledge, etc. Skill trees with different paths are said to be included. The skills attributed depending on your starting class. You obtain some skills during the game depending on your build by using skill points. Your arms are a new mechanic as well. There is a hand command. You have to sheath your weapon to use the hand command. Grab and launch objects, interrupters, levers, rocks, push rocks, inspect the walls, and manually push blocks by using the joystick and the grab command. At this point, there's no indication on what you can or can't grab, so a lot of depth in terms of the gameplay mechanics. Let's see if it comes out April 2020. That would be the same month as Cyberpunk 2077, and yeah, that would be a little bit crazy, but it would be even crazier if Persona 5 Royal is going to be released in March 2020 in North America and Europe, as a brand new rumor is suggesting. Persona 5 Royal releases sometime next year in North America and Europe, and it seems like the game will be released in what probably is the worst possible month. In the latest issue of Game Informer magazine, as reported by Persona Central, series creator designer Shigenori Sojima revealed that Persona 5 Royal will be released in North America and Europe in March of 2020. The Game Informer November 2019 issue specifically includes an interview with Persona series creator designer Shigenori Sojima. The introduction of that interview lists Persona 5 Royal for a March 2020 release date in English. Obviously, March 2020 would be the same month as the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and while you could consider both of these games as major re-releases, Final Fantasy VII is a ground-up remake of one of the most iconic JRPGs in the world, in history, and that game is just gonna be a little bit bigger than Persona 5 Royal. Honestly though, Persona 5 has been such a well-received game that I think that even if it's released in March 2020, there will be a pocket of people that buy the game anyway. They're probably gonna check out the Final Fantasy VII Remake, but they'll check out Persona 5 Royal on top of that. Could Final Fantasy VII Remake eat a little away at the Souls and, you know, siphon off a couple of sales and siphon off a little bit of sales? Absolutely. I think if you think otherwise, you are completely kidding yourself. Persona 5 Royal, as much content as it's adding, it's not as iconic of a game as Final Fantasy VII. It's not the ground-up remake that Final Fantasy VII Remake is, and even if FF7 Remake is only a portion of Final Fantasy VII, that game is gonna sell insanely well. I think some of you guys are really underestimating how huge that game is gonna be. There's a reason why Square Enix is segmenting into multiple games so they can get you $60 multiple times. But nonetheless, Persona 5 Royal will also be a major release if it does come out in March of 2020. Persona 5 Royal also isn't just a simple re-release, it is adding a ton of new content. If you played Persona 3 FES or you played Persona 4 Golden, you know that they go all in with these re-releases and they release a ton of new content. It won't be released as standalone DLC, which is a little bit of a bummer, but nonetheless, to revisit Persona 5, have some additional content, content, that is gonna be very, very nice. Because to many people, Persona 5 is seen as the best Japanese RPG of all time. It didn't quite have the commercial reception of a Final Fantasy VII, but the critical reception was incredibly, incredibly strong, and it coming out in March of 2020, again, that is adding to an absolutely stacked early portion of next year. We're talking about The Last of Us Part 2 on February 21st, Final Fantasy VII Remake in early March, then you want to throw in Persona 5 Royal in March 2020 as well, okay, and then April, you're following that up with Elden Ring and Cyberpunk 2077. Have we ever seen a 2-month span filled with crazier game releases than what I just went over? And guess what I just completely skipped over? Watch Dogs Legion. Yeah, Watch Dogs Legion is going to be released in March as well. It is looking absolutely bonkers. Now, Elden Ring and Persona 5 Royal aren't confirmed for March and April 2020. I honestly could see Elden Ring being pushed to sometime in May or even June, but let's say one of those games even hit in that rumored time period, man, it is absolutely insane. It's already insane based on the announcements that we do have. There's gonna be more announcements given that we're still 5 months away from that time period. It's going to be nuts. And if you thought fall 2019 was crazy, man, I am a little bit scared for everybody's wallet come early 2020 because they are really going to try to close out this generation in the biggest way possible. You even have games like Dragon Ball Kakarot in January, and then just major release after major release in the weeks and months to follow. It's going to be insane. Alright, lastly, I do want to talk a little bit about Close to the Sun. That's been announced for the PlayStation 4 coming October 29th. It is a narrative survival horror title, and it has been dated for consoles. It will be launching both physically and digitally for PS4 on October 29th, announced by publisher Wired Productions and developer Storm in a Teacup. A 1,000 copy print run collector's edition is currently available for pre-order on the Wired Productions store. That's for $98.66. The game itself is grounded in an alternative 19th century where futurist Nikola Tesla was able to fulfill his potential and change the world forever. Close to the Sun sees the player step into the Helios, a colossal vessel for scientific research, steeped in horror and mystery. As the heroine Rose, players find themselves waking in the massive area, looking for their lost sister on the majestic yet mysterious ship created by Tesla. Where is Ada and what happened? Grand halls stand empty. The stench of rotting flesh lingers in the air. Silence, a single word is painted across the entrance. Quarantine. Furthering the game's experience is an exclusive single from Porcelain Pill that players can listen to right now on YouTube or Spotify, using the raw power of the Unreal Engine 4 and embracing leading-edge technology to increase fidelity and quality within the game to deliver a breathtaking experience for players. Close to the Sun has already garnered considerable interest and praise from critics as well as fans. Again, the game is due out October 29th, one that I imagine is going to go a little bit under the radar, but nonetheless looks like a pretty compelling horror game and with a really great narrative attached to it, so let's hope for the best out of that one. The game did first launch on PC, however, it was relegated to being an Epic Game Store exclusive, so obviously it saw limited traction that way, but let's hope with the console release it does get a little bit more attention. And lastly, I do want to note that Atelier Dusk Trilogy Deluxe Pack has been announced for the PS4. This will be including 3 Atelier titles. You've got Atelier Ayasha, the Alchemist of Dust DX, Atelier Esha and Laji, and Atelier Shali, Alchemist of the Dust Sea. The re-releases will include additional elements added to the Plus versions of the game, plus numerous downloadable content included on out of the box. More information was recently announced, and pre-orders have opened up in Japan. However, we don't have any indication as what this bodes for a Western release. Hopefully, it does come to the West at some point, given that we do have the release of Atelier Ryza, Ever Darkness, and the Secret Hideout. That'll be coming later in October, and I've been touting that game might take the series to the next level and might open it up to a larger JRPG audience. Am I saying it's going to be as big as Persona 5 Royal or Final Fantasy VII Remake? Absolutely not, but much like Tales of Arise and what that's doing for the Tales of franchise, it's trying to boost up Tales of's notoriety to a larger audience. I could see Atelier Ryza, Ever Darkness doing that to a smaller extent for Atelier. I think that franchise is always going to remain relatively niche. That's kind of the charm of this series, and if you try to go too mainstream with it, that's going to dissipate a lot of the charm, but nonetheless, something to be on the lookout for, and hopefully we hear a Western launch soon. And that's going to conclude this video. Again, Elden Ring is rumored to be launching in April of 2020. Combat mechanics have been detailed as well. Persona 5 Royal, on the other hand, is rumored to be releasing in March of 2020. Close to the Sun drops October 29th, and an Atelier Dusk Trilogy Deluxe Pack has been announced for PS4, and it's coming in Japan. Hopefully we hear a Western release relatively soon. That's going to conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.